In this video, you will learn how to use the power of your subconscious mind to perform great miracles in your life. The eternal story. When hunger possessed me, I had an insatiable desire for truth. I read the scriptures 2 to 3 hours a day. I read the apochropha. I listened to the teachers at first, but I quickly stopped after seeing the hypocrisy with which they spoke. Now I will begin with this statement. I have never been to church or been inundated with the beliefs of the religions of this world. I never cared. I also had no interest in spirituality. I always saw it as another man's prejudiced belief. I always knew there was more to the story. I knew there was more to this life. I knew there was a purpose, and that was what my search depended on. When I read the Bible, I did not read it through the lens of ages of misinterpretation. How could I? Of course, I knew the history of what people believed about Jesus, but I never believed it. My logical brain could read a chapter and see the hypocrisy in it. How could anyone decide what was right and wrong? How could a man be born from a physical womb without a seed? How could we believe in something outside of ourselves, some God that we must appease? What a terrible existence that must be. How could this world be real? I noticed patterns in this life. I noticed the monotony and almost cyclical but mechanical way of life that we men follow. Like a hamster on a wheel, moving around but going nowhere. I noticed so many different beliefs, so many doctrines that men would accept, believing them wholeheartedly. And yet I wondered, how could this be? Is there no truth? How could it be drained into so many tributaries? So this search takes me inward, into my own mind. Now when I say lead me, I don't mean what I said above. I didn't just accept something as true and call it true. When something stirred inside me, I would get what I call a head explosion, an intense feeling of ecstasy, a pressure in my head, followed by a motor sensation buzzing through my body. Come to find out, this is the same feeling I got when I used the law later in my research, when I was suggested to read Neville. You see, before Neville, I knew that we men needed saving, and yet I knew that no one was going to come and save us. We must save ourselves, and it was in the mind that we do it. Nothing else could explain it. Science certainly couldn't. It's all theory, a way in which we men can explain something that we can't really understand with our rational, humble minds of perception. Science reaches some level and revels in the discovery only to find that the hole goes deeper. Like a dog chasing its tail, it clings to some understanding to ease curiosity and mystery. But you can't explain truth with reason. It's like comparing one shadow to another shadow. Religion certainly didn't explain it. Neither did spirituality. It takes the divine and tempers what they believe externally. Look at the long list of religion's spirituality throughout the ages. Believe in God to some supreme being in space, or many gods of nature. Always full of appeasement and degradation, these ideas of God never truly accomplished anything. They were just that, ideas. I knew we needed saving. I knew that deep down, we men needed saving. We were in a rut. And to be frank, I knew imagination was the problem. Before I first read Neville, I knew our minds needed saving. For in him, we were lost and dead. Our limited minds could not fathom the truth. And when I finally read Neville, I saw the last piece. Knowledge, the law of conscience, God became man. The story of Jesus is about us. God is us, the Old Testament, the prophecy of the New. I discovered that there is nothing more than conscience. Now explains everything I wrote above, my questions. So next to the focus on the promise or salvation, well, if God became me, then I must rise as God. I knew in my conscience of man that I was dead. So I used the law to test my power, to prove that I am is God. I didn't care about the things of this world. Why should I? Why cry out for the shadows when the whole world is mine? Of course I review, but I am aware if the dream. I can change the dream, but if I don't wake up, I continue dreaming. I long to wake up. I read Neville's testimony over and over and believed it fully. Eventually it came upon me, and it didn't happen on this level. It came in vision, and I saw that the scriptures were all visions, a parabolic truth, a parabolic revelation. I became the Jesus of the scriptures. It was, is, and will always be about yourself. Believe in the eternal story.